Hello, my name is Cynthia, and welcome to my Flosstube channel. I'm happy to be here with you today. It's Thursday, February 1st, 2024. I am happy to share with you some crafts I've done, some stitching, some works in progress, and just what I've been up to. I wanted to say thank you first off for the response to my last video I posted. I had so many kind comments and so much encouragement, and it makes me feel really good to be investing the time in sharing what I share. So thank you for being here. Thank you for spending your time with me. And thank you for allowing me to share. I had mentioned last video that some ornaments I had made from a pattern by a Pinker and Pumpkin Quilting blogspot had no hangers on them except for one, and I was going to show you the finished winter tree. And so I, as promised, was going to do that. It's a little bit precarious here, and it's hard to get it in the camera, obviously, but this is the finished tree with different hangers. I only had this one last time with the buttons and the yarn, but now they all have different toppings on them or headers on them. There's some snowflake buttons that I got from Walmart. There's some bells. I always like a bell on an ornament or on anything that hangs. And then this one is just a little sign, again with the snowflakes. I didn't have room for the ones that had a snowman on them, but for a snowflake, but the words got snowflakes. So those were so fun, and you can kind of see that speckling in the fabric a little bit better today than you could last time. It was getting a little bit dark. I also sat down with some scissors and just kind of had some preschool fun making little snowflakes to kind of fill in the tree. And then at the top, I have this piece I did last year. I think this one is another chestnut junction. It's supposed to be much larger. I minimized it to make it a little smaller, and I tea-dyed around it to show the snowman as a little different color. He's a little bit off center, but it was pretty fun. And I gave away quite a few of those as well to some friends. Embroidery is great for gifts because it's not the time investment of a cross stitch, and you don't have to worry about a non-stitcher not appreciating it. Hopefully they'll appreciate it anyway, but you know what I mean. So that was the finish of the snowman tree, or the winter tree, that I used from the metal tree I got on Hirschners.com. I believe it's still there. They a lot of times will give you a coupon if you sign up for Hirschners.com, and then you can get like 20% off. So I think I only paid about $30 for that, and I've been looking everywhere. So if you're looking for a similar tree, it's fantastic for a cross stitch display. And there's lots and lots of little branches, so you could stuff it much more than I have. In fact, that's just something I'll be working on as time goes by. I also have a Valentine's tree, but it's one of the it's a green Christmas tree that I have red flowers and some wooden hearts that I painted on. So I'll show that in the beginning of my video, and that is something that I'm not going to transfer over here. I keep that separate. So I think that winter and Halloween kind of overlap. So for me, it's kind of both. But the other things I wanted to show you are new. I finished them today, and some of them were lots of fun. Some of them were a little bit tricky for me, but that's okay. That's the way it always goes, right? I have this red little gate that I had from a place online, a boutique online. I don't think it's available anymore. I've had some people that see this gate when I show it, because I put patriotic finishes on it, and I put Christmas finishes on it. They've also seen it in different stores. I think it's probably from China, but it is out there. I wanted something on it that was for Valentine's Day, because it doesn't have another piece to go on it until 4th of July, or usually I do that around May. So I thought, well, I had this finish from Melissa from Pinker and Pumpkin. And I have a drawer that I was going to put these little, I think she's called Little Farmer or Farmer's Wife Annie. The same little character has a lot of seasonal pieces, like a winter one that I stitched and I put in a drawer, one of those, square boxes. And then I didn't want to take it out because I have a snowman display that's good until March. So I thought, well, let me do it on this red gate. And I'm just experimenting. I'm not a quilter. I don't really know what I'm doing. So it kind of looks like I made myself a pot holder here, but it still fit pretty well. So I kind of did some fabric on the edges, and then I put one more, and it was going to be too big if I put a top on there. So I just used lace. And then I put some ribbon at the top. I did put it on felt so that it's kind of finished. I did that trick I did with my winter ornaments. That's one of the things that's fun about experimenting with finishes. You figure out new tricks. And for me, finishing with felt and then pinking on the edges is way easier than turning something. And so I use that finish again. And like I said, it's not perfect. I have it just a little bit crooked at the top because that makes it even at the bottom. So I said in my last video that I don't like to be constrained by math, but obviously it does bite me sometimes. So that's okay. From a distance, it's good and it's primitive. I think it turned out really cute. So there's little farmhouse or farmer wife Annie with her chickens. And again, I stitched that last year. I think it's on just some 28 count linen. It doesn't look like even weave. I think it's linen. And I was going to make it into a pillow, but I changed my mind. I'm glad I used that. And then I had a piece from my eldest daughter, Emma, and it's set in a drawer for 5 years, ever since I started Flosstube. I didn't intend to pull it out, and I actually mislaid it. I found it at the bottom of my Valentine stuff and thought, oh, well, this is a good time to finish it. So what I did was just cut it out. It's on 14 count white Aida. I cut it out and used this red polka dot and this black polka dot. It's a little bit brighter, so not necessarily my style, but definitely something my daughter would like. So that's I believe a trio of patterns. There's a dog and maybe a mouse in the teacup too. I think it's called like Liberties or something. I think it was supposed to be like a patriotic finish, but Emma used Valentine colors, and so she loves cats a lot. So I will give this to her, but I wanted to show y'all. It was actually the first thing she ever stitched, and she did a really good job. She's going to be helping me on some other things. I have 2 daughters represented this video. So this was my eldest. And like I said, it's a Barbara Anna design, but I didn't say it's in the Punch Needle Primitive Stitcher magazine, probably from 2019. I didn't take it, but for that 1 year. So I think that's where it is, but she may have released it on her own as well from Barbara Anna Design. So just a cute little cat. And I have one more cat. This one I think shown in my hoop last time, but see, they kind of look cute together. Here is my punch needle finish with, I'm trying to remember the name, but I brought it because I can never remember the name. An Etsy designer. I think this is my second punch that I've done of hers. Yeah, I did the snowman one too. Perfect Prim punch. I can never say that. Perfect Prim punch needle. She says it twice. That's why it's confusing. So here's her version and here's mine. It looks really small once you get it finished, but it's a lot of thread. I would say there's probably 2 skeins at least of black thread, and then several bits of most of a skein of a peach color. This actually, this isn't DMC that I used on the black. It's a pearl cotton number 5 black yarn ball, and I love to do that because when you're punch needling, if you've ever tried it, it's super tedious to re-thread your punch needle. It has like 2 steps with a little thin wire threader, and the more you can just continue punching away, the better. So I use that black, it's not Valdani, it's just a DMC pearl cotton, but I use that to finish all that black, and I didn't have to reload my needle once. So unless you accidentally unthread it, but it's much faster. So I appreciated that. And I didn't use her colors at all. I just used some mauves I had on hand, and it just looks so much more finished when you put that black on there. I don't think I had much black last time I showed it to you. And I wasn't gonna put any trim on here because it does have a little, punched ruffle almost designed. But when I sewed the pillow, I tried to stitch smooth up against the punch needle. It almost looks like a little rug. I tried to punch as close to that, or to sew as close to that as I could, but no matter what I did, I ended up having just a little bit of a gap. So what I did was take this chenille yarn, and this is just another tip. If you're dyeing something, like if you're using a bowl of Rit dye or a pan of Rit dye to dye some fabric, always have some other things you can throw in there, like some, random fabric for backing, some yarn. This is just that chenille yarn you can get from Michael's. There is a little bit of a trick to dyeing this yarn. It's not cotton or anything natural. It's probably a polyester. So the dye doesn't want to stick, and you can tell it's kind of stripy. I didn't mind that, but it's actually something I did with Rit dye that I painted on with a paintbrush, and then I put it on a parchment lined sheet pan and baked it. And I didn't even rinse it out. I mean, the dye, it might come off on your hands. I think heating it set it pretty well. Sometimes when I do that, it will come off on your hands, but this doesn't. It just looks a little bit stripy, but for this treatment, I thought that was perfect. And it's just something I've had for probably 2 years in a basket. So I was like, oh, it's kind of a testament to making extra and just, throwing it in a jar. You'll never know when it comes in handy. I stitched it on instead of gluing because the glue has been getting a little bit crusty for me. So I thought, let me use hand sewing. It's not my favorite, but it was worth it. And I'll put a pin or a charm with 2024 on it, but I haven't picked any up yet. So I'd left a spot to remind myself to put a charm there, and just sewed it all the way around and then sealed it with that. And that's what I did on the little cat too. And where's she gotten to? Oh, right here. I sewed it all the way around and then just glued over it with a little patch. So thanks for letting me share those cats. I think they look so cute together. They're different styles, but still very fun. I like primitive Valentines, but I just like Valentines in general. It's fun. And then my last finish, well, I have one other finish at the end to show you that's like part of a 12-month finish. And this technically is too, but this finish I worked on with my youngest daughter. Anna is 11. I always have to think, when did she turn 11? She's 11, and she helped me to embroider these cats from Hudson Holidays. I see that they're just a little bit crooked here on my sewing, but that's okay. I used my pinking shears again, and I had some felt, and I wanted to share this way of finishing. It was kind of unique, I thought. Sorry, I'm hiding behind my tray here. What I ended up doing to attach this, because this is metal, I don't know where this is from. It says on the back, apropos home collection. It was $25 from whoever originally bought it, but as you can see, I got it for $4.49 from Goodwill. So as soon as I saw that, I was like, mine. I put it in my cart immediately, and I knew that I wanted to put these cats on there. I could put four magnets on here, but I have the coolest magnets. These are sewn on from I think for like apparel or bags or something, and they're actually just surrounded with like a plastic pocket so you can sew them. And I was a little worried that it would show too much when I sewed on the front with the embroidery, but I don't mind it. It almost looks like just little stamps. So I just stitched it to the back. I thought about making this more complicated, like, oh, I could sew it to the backing fabric and then it wouldn't show. But it gets a little confusing because you have to make sure the magnetic side is out. The other side is not magnetic, so you have to make sure you've got it to the right direction. And I also thought I'm going to make 12 of these. So the more simple I can make it, the more likely I'll be to do it. And so here we are again with my felt backing with pinking shears. And did I even pink? Yeah, I pinked this wool. It was a gift from my friend Joe. And it's really pretty. I was saving it for something else, like a runner or something. I was like, you know, I've had this for a couple of years. Why don't I just use it and enjoy it? And it's the perfect color. I experimented with 2 different bows. This is actually called Rusty Gate, I think. It's really a rust color, but it matched the red better. And like I said, I like more of a primitive palette instead of the bright cherry red. You can do it however you like. And then I went ahead and sewed on the bow. I could have made that magnetic as well, but I thought, no, I'll just make each one have a little corner where it can be for a shamrock or for, you know, different flowers for spring. I'm really having fun with this project. And Anna did a really good job. She stitched all around the black cat, all around the orange cat, and the heart. I kind of went in and finished. So just a lot of fun. It's a project that I wanted to share with Anna, so I'm glad to do it. And here's it's on notebook paper, but here's the way it's intended, or one of the ways it can be finished is as a quilt. And there's 12 of them. I got it on sale at like Black Friday, I think, so it was like $4 or $5 pattern, but some of our other ones are a little more expensive. And she is on Etsy. You can see the name there, Hudson Holidays Patterns. I've used several of hers. She has a really cute style. So there's my little quilt cat of the month, or flannel-backed, felt-backed cat of the month. And let me get a drink of water, and I'll be back to share all the WIPs I've been working on, some samplers, and one other quick finish. 2 things I forgot real quickly. I couldn't find these earlier. I left out this magnet that comes with the plastic. It's for sewing. It came from Amazon, and I got it. It comes in a big stack of these, probably about 30 high. I was using them for project bags. I don't love them for project bags though, because they're not quite strong enough to close the bag. But for that piece, it's very lightweight. It worked perfectly. So if you're looking for a similar treatment, those come in handy. And then the other thing was, I was going to show, it's not going to be a close-up, but I do have my Barbara Anna Rampant Cats sampler hung there, as you can see, above the second child. So I'm working my way up that Adam and Eve wall. So I was happy to have that put up on the wall. I use command strips behind them so they're really secure to the wall. Otherwise, my kids keep knocking those down. In fact, one of them is a little bit crooked, but I'm slowly adding more command strips. Okay, let me get started. I have been working on my rotation I did last year. I find that I do need a little bit of a parameter with working a schedule. If I just leave it up to mood stitching or whatever, I feel like I am not really, last year was not really very productive year, which is fine. I think you need to have rest too, but I really want to get some of these WIPs out of the way. So I'm doing 5 days on a larger WIP or an extra large, 4 days on a large, 3 days on a medium, 2 days on a small, 1 day on an extra small. I didn't quite follow those parameters. I don't think this piece here, this Heart and Hand sampler by Brenda Gervais, is an extra large. It's actually more like a large. There's a formula on how I figured that out. I got it from Jen Lee, but I just wanted this one done. And so I put it in my rotation. It's going to be in my rotation till it's done. And I think it's one that I can get done. Hopefully this winter. But here are the colors. They're just very earthy and pretty, as all Brenda Gervais are. I'm using Picture This Plus Ale. And let me see if I can remember how far I've gotten since I last showed you. I got some work done. I think I got quite a bit of the middle block there. That house wasn't all outlined. I didn't have that tree started or the outer outline. I added another leg on that upper border, another white flower. And I think I finished off a number that was missing. And the lady, she didn't have a head or hands, and she didn't have a picture. So just little details. The way I figure it, it's just going to be slow and steady, but at least she's moving forward instead of sitting in a bag. So that is Heart and Hand by Brenda Gervais. That's 32 count, I believe, because I am using two strands, and I like a really vibrant color, so I'd rather either do 2 strands on 32 or 36 or 1 strand on 40. I don't always do it that way. For instance, this is a 36 count and it's, oh, I didn't realize this, another Brenda Gervais. I shared this on Instagram, but I've gotten quite a bit further. This cover sheet is a little bit wrinkled, but this is a, I don't think it's out of print. I don't see it very often though. I know I've seen it at Silver Needle. You could probably get it on Etsy, but it's called Red Bird Fractor. And it's listed as Brenda Gervais, not with thy needle. I don't know what that significance, but probably just that it's older. I started it in 2019, a long time ago, and just never pulled it out. It has 2 different Valdani threads called for that I did purchase, and they're really pretty. It's these, I think like light brick and medium brick. So that's the color of the birds. And I am using 1 strand on this project, so it does look a little more antique-y, not quite as vibrant, but it's really pretty. And I like funky birds. So there it goes. I got the outline. This is a lot like one of those pieces that I've seen a lot of people work on, the, what is it, Peacock and a Badger, where it's like almost like a coloring book. Like you do all the outline and then you just fill in. Now this one does have polka dots. You can see the back has started filling in some of those dots. They're kind of like a green and gold dot, but other than that, like the neck and the head, it's just outline it and then you go. And I'm trying to do the directionality different, like the head I did up and down because it is variegated, and then the neck I did sideways, and then I'm doing up and down on the wing. And I had a really hard time with colors. I've changed a few of these myself. I think one of the drawbacks of doing an older pattern is this green that shows up on the back of the bird and in the middle of the leaves. I ordered it from 123 Stitch, and it's called Corn Husk. It looks really neon. When you put it next to these softer colors, I stitched it in and I then went ahead and pulled it out because I just didn't like it. I think it used to be a little bit more of like a medium green, and now it's just kind of limey. So, I mean, that's okay, but it wasn't what I was looking for. I changed it to like a mid-tone green that I have from, I think it's just a DMC 3013. So that's going to be my light green instead of this kind of bright chartreusey color. And then the other problem I was having, I didn't get the color, I think it's called Rose Hips, for the tulips. And so I've restitched this tulip literally 3 times. It's so ridiculous. I used a anchor color here, and it was before I put the bird in. After I put the bird in, I kind of felt like it was too close in color. I might leave it because I've already stitched it twice, but what I'm going to go forward with is actually another anchor color that's more peach, and that looks more like what the picture shows on the cover. I have this on a terracotta wall where it's going to go, so I really wanted more of the peachy colors, and so it just works out that way. Sometimes I just wasn't happy. I kept stitching, pulling out. So this is the final one, and I really, really like it. I also added an egg. I think I've explained this before when I've shown this, but this has 3 eggs, and I put 4 in because I have 4 kids. So this will be mom and dad bird, I guess, with the 4 babies. But like I said, I'll keep working on that. It's not a huge piece. This is 36 count ale. No, 36 count Ren. I had a couple questions on Instagram. This is the called for linen, and it's like I said, maybe 3 or 4 years old now. So hopefully that's still a linen that you can get your hands on. And I really enjoy that project. I spent 4 days on that. And then a project that I think is so cute, but it's just not my favorite stitching. I pulled out my hands-on design, Let It Snow Bungalow. The colors are so pretty and it's very wintry. But I think the difference between when I'm working like a Brenda Gervais pattern and this one is, I'm not sure. This is just what I was thinking as I was stitching it. Why do I just not jive with this pattern? Why doesn't it click with my brain? I think because Priscilla drew this as a chalkboard and it was very freeform. Kathy did a fantastic job charting it, but it's just not as intuitive somehow when I'm trying to stitch this, you know, shape here, or even the bottom of the house. And I don't know if that makes sense, but for whatever reason, my brain just doesn't want to, I don't know, it doesn't want to cooperate. I keep having counting errors. So I'm doing it on this dotted fabric, which, oh, I can't even remember what it's called. It says Weigart. So it's fun. I don't know if I would pick it in retrospect. There's lots of spots where the white, and it's almost like a paint drop, is a little bit tricky to get your needle through. And also it's sort of interfering with the design, because like Priscilla charted this, or Kathy charted this to be open so that the fabric is black behind it. And then I've got that white spot there. So what I did down here when that happened, because it was in the banner there too, I did add black, and I like the way that looks. So I might go back up and just fill in anything that's showing through with black. But it's a really pretty pattern, and I love that turquoise shutter treatment that I did with the Sunflower Manor. So I really wanted a matching piece, and I like especially that topper, the winter with the snowman is really cute. So I'm going to press on. I'll probably put it away in March when I can work on the hip hop. Oh, that's not what it's called, the Cottontail Farm. So these are just a long-term project for me. I don't know why. Priscilla said she did them quickly, but she's probably just a faster stitcher than me. Oh, and I did love this one thread I'm using from Hand Dyed by Rolanda. It's really pretty to use that variegated blue, like on the lettering. I don't know if you can tell, but I enjoy that kind of detail. So I am having some fun with it, but I made some mistakes on the windows. You know how houses have to be perfect or they'll be wonky. So I had to pull out a window, or I'm actually accommodating it and knowing I'm one stitch off. And it's just one that's been a little bit of a stinker. But like I said, I want it on my wall, so I'm going to finish it. And then a finish I had, and an almost finish, I don't have the cover letter for. I printed this out on Etsy, but it's finished, so I can show you. This is from Satsuma Street, and it's one that is not usually my color scheme, but it's for my second daughter, Sophia, and she loves bright, happy colors. So this is her 12-day set. Oh, and I was going to show you, it's so funny. I knew as soon as I finished my 12-day ornaments, and now it's buried. Anyway, as soon as I finished my eldest daughters, I was going to find those charms, and I found them today. I was so mad. I was like, I looked everywhere for these, and they were in a little tiny plastic bag in the side of my finishing basket. So I have the 12-day ornaments, or charms. I actually have two. I have two sets. I'm going to paint some gold and leave the others silver, but this will be something I can add to Sophia's. And I can't decide how I'm going to finish them. I want them to be compact so they don't have to lug it around. I don't want it to be pillows. I was thinking I might do something different though. So we'll see. This is a even weave that I dyed myself with charcoal. And oh, the other thing about that, I made up all the colors. Look how bright. They're so fun to work with. And my daughter Emma, my eldest, saw it and was like, oh, I love those colors. And so she's going to stitch it in Ada, because she's an Ada stitcher, and I'll dye that charcoal. And then she's going to contribute the stitching. So it'll be a project that both her, Sophia's mom and sister stitch. So I thought that would be so fun. Plus it takes a little bit off of my plate. It's like I'm trying to run a little stitching shop here. I've got Anna and Emma helping. But it's so pretty. It really is fun. It's fun to work outside of your norm sometimes, just to try other colors. Like as you're blending these, it's happy. It's a happy stitch. So Satsuma Street, I think it's called My True Love. That's what it says at the top of the sampler, but I forgot to print the cover letter off. I bought it on a PDF, and all I have is the chart. So there's my 12-day ornaments that I'm doing this year. And then I'm getting some help, hopefully. And even if she doesn't help, that's okay. I'd like her to try. I'm going to also hopefully keep working on my Joyful World. I can show you this. This is February, and I'm actually using the month that was suggested by the Snowflower Diaries. I always forget that name. It's, I think, an Eastern European designer, and she provided all 12 of those patterns for free. They're so pretty. I've had a lot of fun. I've done this in the last 2 days. You can see I changed a little bit of the colors. The exterior color on the border was supposed to be brown, but I wanted it to look more like Valentine. So I did Rose Garden by Gentle Arts. It has some pretty variegation. And then I'm just picking my own colors from my stash of Victorian Motto and Wicked Stepmother because I have so many. And I thought I was going to add hearts, but then I realized, oh, the leaves are hearts. I wasn't paying attention at first. I didn't realize that. And the colors aren't perfect. I would have changed a few things, but I really like the ducks. And I do like that rose-colored border. So that'll be in drum finish soon. I'm going to put probably some red check fabric, and it'll go in a drum, and it's almost finished. I just need to do the other side with the flowers and the duck and finish February. So that should get done this month, and those are all the WIPs I've worked on. I feel like I've gotten a pretty good stitching rhythm going. I'm trying to listen to more audiobooks instead of reading so that I can actually use my hands. I have one other plan ahead, actually two, but one I've already shown you. I was hoping to finish Hollyberry Christmas and didn't, so I'm going to pull that out again this month and see if I can't get at least the border done. I still have the bottom border to finish. And then I was supposed to finish, it is a leap year, I participated in a Sal for, who was it, Two Martini Stitcher a long time ago, 4 years ago. She put forth this Leap Day Sal, and the idea was stitch on the 29th of the month, and in 4 years you can have a long dog sampler finished. And I thought, oh, that's a great idea. I'll do it every month on the 29th. I just don't do well with that plan. So I haven't gotten a lot done on it, but I printed out this PDF and loved this design. It reminds me a little bit of what's the one that everybody else does? It's bigger than this one. It's got the black border. I love a black border with floral. So I pulled the colors and realized this printout does not look like the colors that the actual design uses. The actual design has like hot pinks, bright yellows, chartreuse. It's like a tropical color almost with the black. And I like it like this. So what I've done, and it's been a little bit of a problem, is I've gone through and used those more rustic colors, and they're dramatically different than what's charted. So I will share that at the end if anybody's interested, or anybody else is working on it and wants to know, because I loved like I said, the cover letter. And here is, it's the bottom left. I always start on the bottom. Here is the bottom that I was able to do. Long dogs are tricky in that you have to get them perfect. You can tell right away if something is not symmetrical. Everything seems to be, back and forth. It's got the woodpeckers on the side, or are they hummingbirds? I think they're woodpeckers. It's supposed to be like on a fairy tale called The Woodpecker Prince, which I've never heard of that. But it's really fun. I'm using a Victorian Motto linen in 32 count. It almost looks like a shale. It's got a little bit of a purpley pink. I don't know if it's coming across true, but I liked it with those mauves. And like I said, the black just really makes everything pop. It's so fun. So I'm going to work on that. I won't get it finished on the Leap Day Sal deadline as I hoped, but I'm glad to be able to get a little bit of work in on it. And it is really pretty. So we'll see how that goes. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. If you have any questions. I did have a little bit of progress on my doll from Chestnut Junction. She's looking really funky, but I have hopes that she's gonna turn out. This is my angel that I'm gonna be stitching, and I bet, or painting actually, because she's stitched. She needs wool hair. She has these weird little gimpy arms and legs, but she is stitched and stuffed. And then what I'm gonna do is, you can kind of see through, her face. I'm gonna put her eyes and mouth on there, and then some wool hair. So she's gonna hopefully be finished the next time I visit, or if you want to check me out on Instagram, I'll try to link that down below. I will be posting progress on her, and I am back to my original rotation that I showed you last time with Hawk Run Hollow, and I didn't work on Louisa Coulamore, my Bristol sampler, so I'm excited to get to that, and a few others that aren't coming to mind right now other than the ones I showed you, the black house sampler and my long dog, not my long dog, my Hawkhorn Hollow. So those are what I'm working on this afternoon. Again, thank you for your time. If you have any questions, leave them below. I leave my email there as well. And I hope you are well. We have a lot of flu and cold stuff going around. It's my son's birthday this weekend, and so we're having a sleepover with little stinky 12-year-old boys that are so sweet but loud and crazy. So it's going to be an interesting weekend for me, but hopefully you are well and our kids all stay well for that. And thank you for joining me. Thank you for letting me share. As I say at the end of all my videos in the book of Psalms, chapter 90, verse 17, it says, "May the favor of the Lord our God be upon us and establish the work of our hands." Take care.